This actual play is intended for mature audiences and contains themes some viewers may find upsetting. Please check each episode's show notes for specific content warnings and enjoy the show with care. The Mouse in the Tower, Whose Walls Recall Wind.
You have a near superhuman dexterity and climbing ability. When you take this move, narrate a flashback showing a montage of your crystal door training. What impossible heights did you learn to scale, and what precarious paths did you manage to navigate? Fenwyn's face, as it always is, even as a younger man, a picture of stillness and calm. There is a light breeze that moves his tousled hair slightly, and the outline of his figure is illuminated perfectly in the moonlight. He's probably 150 meters from the ground right now, balancing precariously on a rope between two spindly stone towers. There are crowds of initiates at the window of either tower where the rope links between them, making bets, taking bets, turning over sand timers. Surely, not even Fenwyn can make it across this. He's the picture of stillness, and we see what he's standing on, the thick rope, tarred, covered in spines of broken glass and bottles. He's barefoot, and he is walking slowly and calmly, and about halfway between the two towers, we hear the of crossbow bolts being fired across his bow, warning shots, perhaps to get him to hurry up. The initiates at the window to which he is heading certainly want him to hurry, and from the looks of their panicked faces, he can tell that the rope has just been set on fire. He can hear the crackle and pop of the tar as it slowly gains on him, but his pace doesn't change. His step is light, but even so, he can feel the rope begin to slacken as the fire burns through. And he's nowhere near there. He's nowhere near the other side, and the initiates are screaming. He can see the sand in the hourglasses running low. He can see people saying goodbye to their wages. He keeps to his pace. He's not going to make it. And he fixes one of the initiates with a look as he takes a crossbow bolt to the stomach. Both hands clasp around the bolt, and he smiles as he topples off the rope into the gloom below. The initiates race to the window and look down. He's not surviving that fall, but they can see a crossbow bolt wedged into the mortar between the bricks. And then, a few seconds later, they hear from behind them, and they see Fenwyn has scaled around the tower and in through the window behind. And he's looking at the last grain of sand fall through the hourglass and says, "Apologies to anyone betting on my demise."
The old fire.
Narrate a flashback to the night under the singular moon, when Romulo the Silver-Tongued sang of the Sun Queen's treachery for all at court to hear. The light of the lone moon did shine on the land when silver-tongued Romulo sang his tales of the Sun Queen and her treachery vile in the hearts of the troubadours rang. The burns on his arms and his chest and his face told of cruelty and hatred and greed, the wilting of crops and the drying of lakes his cracked lips called thus to heed. The Sun Queen means to scorch our home. She sits in the Wolf King's rightful throne. And oh, had I listened to Romulo's warning, and oh, had I dared to hear Romulo's words, I might still be cradled in his sweet arms till morning, mingling howls of our union with the songs of the birds.
Narrate a flashback to the first time you were named a monster, who witnessed your work and fled in horror, and what part of their terror did you quietly understand, even as you refused to stop. The village has been amended, purified. Most of the villagers hang from the trees now. They either swing from their branches with the ropes of hemp tight around their neck, or some lucky chosen few have been nailed, crucified to branch and bough. Calyxe stands before one lucky oracle, who does not swing. She has been nailed from her hands to her feet, and she rasps in great heaving breaths. Calyxe is happy, content, knowing she is doing the will of the earth, knowing that all is right. And as she looks into the woman's eyes that are filled with tears and blood, as she looks at her teeth that are shattered and cracked, as that tongue tries to wrap around human speech, but all that comes out are the breaking branches of truth, the noise of the forest. Calyxe's eyes slip to the side and find another pair of eyes looking at her. Small eyes. Set in a sunken face, the skin sallow. It is a child. One that has dared to stay. Perhaps it is looking for a home among the Crux Druids. Perhaps it knows this is the path and the way. One to take on such learning so early, clearly chosen. Calyxe draws back from the oracle and with a smile leans one hand out to the child. And he backs away. Fear overcomes his features. He screams at Calyxe. You didn't have to do that to her. Mom, please. Mummy. Mummy. But his mother doesn't respond. She just keeps rasping sweet truths. And the child flees, runs, pelts back through the forest before Calyxe's hand can reach out and snatch him. And there is a moment where that hand rests on her own stomach, which is growing, the life inside it fluttering. That child. Maybe he could have been a knight. Maybe he could have been a troubadour. Maybe he could have been anything except the frightened little thing that is now so consumed by all that is death, he will never leave it. And the last word from the oracle's mouth, before the Crux Druids leave this place, The last truth Calyxe hears, the last thing she is able to coax before the body slumps, is one name. Fen. Fen. Fen.
Narrate a flashback to the moment you first sensed the dimning on the horizon. What form did the dimning take for you? Fenwyn always liked the desert air. It reminded him of home, although there was nothing homely or even remotely comforting about the situation he was in. The worst of it was over, but he knew there was more suffering to follow as he perched on the crenellations of an adobe fortress in the middle of the desert. It's nighttime, and the battle below has raged and died, along with thousands of people. He didn't see any of it. He was there doing something clandestine ahead of the main assault, but he gets to see the fallout. He gets to see a once great empire sacked. He gets to hear the victory songs of the soldiers swirling up from below, tangled with the agonized wails of the dying still left on the battlefield, mortally wounded, slowly, one by one, being put out of their misery by the squires who tread between the corpses and the living and make them all the same. And it's something Fenwyn hears in between the cries of pain, the wail of the vanquished. He hears almost like a discordant harmony coming in, weaving its way through the suffering. And that's when he knows that in that particular moment, in that particular place, after that particular battle, that something about the world has changed. The spaces between the noise and the notes has now been filled, and he'll never know silence again.
Start of session. Let's recap our active mystery, which is currently the Mouldering Court. And so far on the Mouldering Court, you just have one question, which is, what is the nature, the story of Lady Kendwyn's lost love? It's a complexity 8, and the opportunity is to resolve the mystery by seeking the heart of the swamp and immediately engaging in a struggle against the putrescent queen. You have 4 clues so far for that question. I also want to check in briefly with each of the embers in particular conditions, and also I want to see if there are any particular moves or scenes you would each like to have. And so I'll kind of start with Ash. Ash, you are loaded up with conditions. You are marked by the Black Cortege, you are strained, and you are marked by Sir Denebray the Lion as well. Did you have any particular moves or scenes you would like to request for this session?
Particular scenes. I don't want to talk to Sir Denebray anymore, but I think I would like to catch up with Calyxe. I think we've spoken the least out of anyone here, so I would like to speak to Calyxe maybe and see what's going on over there.
I think we have a good opportunity to put the two of you together, because you're both kind of had just finished scenes with Sir Denebray and then with the Vicomte. Speaking of, let me just go to Calyxe. So Calyxe, you are still Herald of the Speaking Root. I also take a moment to note here that you have not yet marked your lone cinder, but you have filled up the Kindling Gate track. So whenever you do mark that cinder in the ways that you could mark it, you'll be able to immediately unmark it. So you basically have like a free use right now of your symbol.
Exactly. I'm sort of betting on that at some point.
Yeah. I mean, probably the most like immediate use case is going to be bumping up the answer to the question, right? Like
Yeah.
You can bump it up. What any scenes or moves?
Yes, Calyxe would like to visit her oracle, who on this journey I believe is Sister Isha. So I'd like to just catch up.
That's right, Sister Isha. It's on the Castle Bragan journey, right?
Yes,
yeah,
that's the one.
You will have an opportunity to do a journey here pretty soon,
Fabulous.
so we'll talk about that then. But I love it. Theia, you have shaky hands. Did you have any moves or scenes you want? Oh, also, I'll note here that we're just going to carry over your task from the Wolf King from last time to this session. So.
Okay, that was my question.
Yeah.
If I had a new task because I didn't do the last one.
It'll be the same one. Just ease comfort the dying with your song. So.
Okay. Then yeah, I don't know if there's anything else specific. I'd love to try and get rid of those shaky hands. The hands have been shaking for weeks now, but we'll see. Otherwise, go on.
If we want to do make camp at the Moldering Court, you certainly can. It's a little dangerous. It's not like unreasonably dangerous, but it's just more dangerous than if you were doing it on a journey. But you all could do that, especially because Ash has also got Ash loaded up with conditions that might be worth doing.
That might be good then.
Yeah. Was there anything else there?
Otherwise, just I like it here at the court. Probably going to explore it some more, see what I find.
Fenwyn, who moves like ink and water, you also have 3 conditions. Merciful, which is, I'll remind you, that's the one that you can actually burn to get an automatic 10+. You also have a Vigil Unkept. That's permanent until you do the thing. And then you also are infected with Bloomrot, specifically thorns sprouting from your lips, a little gift from Periwinkle. Did you have any particular scenes or moves you want to do today?
I think clearing the bloom rot would be something I wanted to do, whether or not it would be something that would require Granny Lou's attention.
Good.
Or but yeah, I'd be interested in clearing that.
Indeed. And I'll also note that any of you can clear a condition immediately by just marking an aspect if the aspect makes sense to clear it. So that's always an option as well if you don't have time to make camp. Fantastic. Let's keep going with our start of session here. If you would like, you can mark new end of session questions. And now, because we have fewer than 3 active mysteries, I will introduce a brand new mystery. We don't yet quite know how you learn about this. I'm thinking that probably Granny Lou mentions it. It seems like the kind of thing Granny Lou would know about. As ever, it's not super important how you learn about it. It's only important that you know about it. When the old fire was merely a spark, and a single red moon hung in the sky, the earliest tribes of men made war with each other in petty attempts at carving their own settlements out of the wilderness. As a second moon appeared in the sky, a grove of strange trees emerged in place of one of the many battlefields scarring the land. Where once there were blood-stained acres littered with hundreds of unburied infantrymen, there now stood towering white birches. In the Age of Plenty, this place came to be known as the Whitewood, a memorial to the fallen and a reminder of the sacrifices that helped make the age possible. As the dimming shadows snuffed out the old fire, something in the darkness stirred the once slumbering dead from their rest. Rising without nations to claim, these undead soldiers learned to exist in a harmony they were denied in life. Though the dimming shadow retreated and left the lands in disarray, things remained tranquil in the Whitewood for a time. The undead now speak of a strange lodge that recently appeared out of nowhere, floating high above the treetops. Visible only at night, the lodge's design suggests the arrival of a race of beings called the Luminians, not seen since before the Dimning, and bears the crest of their celestial hunting party, the Silvercut Company. More curious, though, is their motive for their return. In recent years, they have snatched up several of the undead to bring back to their lodge. Though the Luminians have not been seen since before the Dimning, bits of their folklore have remained. Their stories tell of a sleeping beast, the Lumin Prince, whose dreams guide the very orbit of the blue moon. The forthcoming eclipse portends the waking of the prince, whose temperament could leave not only the lands but the very cosmos in ruins. With the eclipse drawing ever closer, and the Silvercut Company still on the hunt, the window to find the means to lull the prince shrinks. Indeed, you have questions and opportunities, and there's a threshold question here that has to be answered before you can do anything else. How can the Silvercut Lodge be accessed? It's glowing and floating in the air, and so the question is, how do we get up there? How do we get in? That's a complexity too. The opportunity is to gain access to the Silvercut Lodge and the locations therein, and then unlock the next question. So, now is a good time to talk about countdowns and journeys and mysteries. So, every mystery has a countdown, including the Moldering Court. The Moldering Court countdown has 3 marks, and if they are filled, something bad happens. The bad thing, I'll tell you, it's out of character knowledge, but there is an exiled knight who is keeping his eyes on you all. And the more time that passes, the closer you get to having to confront this exiled knight. And so, know that. The Whitewood has a countdown of 5. And again, strictly out of character knowledge. But once that countdown is complete, the entire species of Luminians is destroyed. So, know that. Now, how do those countdowns get marked? Well, anytime your characters journey from one place to another, we mark a box on every active mystery. Except if you journey to that mystery before the next one is introduced, you get to actually travel to it for free. So, next one's introduced, and by the end of the session, basically you have to do it right away. You get to make the journey for free, and no countdowns get marked. But as soon as, like, say, next session, when I introduce a 3rd mystery, it will no longer be free to travel to the Whitewood. Also, if you all take different journeys, like let's say one group goes back to Elegy and one group goes to the next mystery or whatever, it's a number of boxes are marked equal to every journey box that gets marked. So if you split the group, it also speeds up time, essentially, right? So that is sort of the deal. It's an abstract way of representing the passage of time. We don't concern ourselves too much with it, but we deal with it in this abstract way. And so now that you know about the Whitewood, your best opportunity to travel there with the least or cost, essentially, is soon.
I think Calyxe will take up that opportunity.
That's what I was suggesting. Since
Quickly.
I know you want to go on a journey, yeah.
Yes, please.
This would be the time to do it. So that is that. That is the Whitewood introduced. And so, well, I know what Calyxe wants to do. That's great. Is there anything else you want to do in the Moldering Court before you leave, Calyxe?
Yeah, visit sisters. Visit the Oracle. While she's
the Oracle's on the journey.
Yes.
It's not in this place. It's like you travel by her, basically. So if there's anything you want to do prior to going on the journey is what I'm asking. Like, before you leave this place, basically, before you leave the Moldering Court. I know that, Ash, you said you wanted to have a scene with Calyxe, right?
Yes, but that can happen on a journey. That can happen.
Are you thinking of taking the journey as well?
I want to be as far away from Sir Denebray as I possibly.
I might have a solution. So, so for
I the player love him. Ash, no.
So for the current mystery, we have 4 clues.
You do indeed, yes.
And with it being a complexity 8 minimum, we can answer it as at the minimum.
You do have the minimum to try to answer.
We do have the
yeah,
minimum.
Yeah, you do have the minimum. While Jess is looking that over, Theia, is there anything? What do you want to do next? What are you thinking of?
I think Theia does want to stay here. There's more to find out, and she's interested in this place. I might like to make camp and try and clear that pesky condition. If anyone wants to do that before they head off, that might be a good idea. But otherwise, afterwards, I'm gonna continue to stay here and not journey on yet.
Fenwyn, are you open to making camp right now?
I'm well up for making camp. I think Fenwyn has getting into accessing somewhere locked and mysterious is definitely what Fenwyn wants to do. But I feel compelled to stay in the Mouldering Court because of my interaction with Periwinkle. Because I don't think Fenwyn understands what it means, and I think that he's going to stay here.
Yeah, I like it. I think it would be nice to maybe have all of you make camp before Ash and Calyxe leave. And then Ash and Calyxe, you'll get to make camp again on the journey. And then, but it might be nice to have like a make camp scene with everyone before you all split up. I think that'd be a good idea. So why don't we just do that, I think.
Sounds good.
We'll kind of fast forward a little bit. Evening has come upon the swamp, upon the Rose Court. Or I should say the Mouldering Court, nay, the Rose Court. And you all come back together from the various places you've been. And you are actually drawn to the Sunken Amphitheatre. Drawn by the sound of someone standing on stage at the amphitheater, orating. You can hear them first before you see them. Why did the old fire recede? Was it because we did not love it enough? Was the dimning a manifestation of our indifference? I say to you, might we have stopped these horrors if only we had taken the time to better understand and appreciate the warmth that the flame gave us? It kind of goes on like this for some time. The Sunken Amphitheatre, tiered stone seats, kind of slumping into dark water. You can actually hear in the night air echoes of distant song kind of rippling faintly. Reeds and rot roses sway where dancers once spun. Let's paint the scene. This was a stage for joy, rivalry, devotion. What lingering sign suggests a story of those who once performed here and how their passions still cling to the place? I'll also tell you a bit more about the orator as you arrive. He's very tall, willowy figure draped in sun-faded silks, their once opulent colors washed to ghostly pastels, and he has a golden torque hanging loose around his throat, tarnished, but still gleaming faintly in the moonlight. And his voice carries with unnatural clarity. You could hear him many, many paces, 200 paces away. But yes, let's go back to paint the scene. I'll remind you, this was a stage for joy, rivalry, and devotion. What lingering sign suggests the story of those who once performed here and how their passions still cling to the place?
When this orator is upon the stage, the quality of his performance is not of great import, because when anyone takes the stage in this place, the air is stilled with the held breath of all of the devotion of the artists who brought themselves here and made themselves vulnerable with the art of performance. That stillness is what allows his voice to carry so clearly and so far. The respect and the adoration of the art itself is still in the very air here.
I think that just as a shawl of cloud passes by the moon, the light shines through a bunch of small crystals or pieces of glass that have been very deliberately placed up high in the boughs of some trees. And as the moonlight hits them at a particular time, it bathes the stage in stars. And these were put there to catch the moon at the time at which performance would begin. but the moon isn't out that much these days, and darkness recedes.
The curtains that decorate the edges of this amphitheater are worn. They are dragged by the water. And on the stage itself, there are scuffs and marks of things that have been dragged and pushed, and marks that have been made by the ones who were on stage, so you know where to stand, where to go. And the curtains themselves seem to sway and move as if between acts, waiting for the next straw, for the next step, for the next aria, for the next dance. They wish to close and part and show you something new. And it is waiting and waiting forever for that moment.
Just off stage, a small section of the wings almost, where performers would get ready, take their breath, prepare themselves, prepare their speeches, their voices, tap nervously, ready to face a crowd. There is a series of hooks, almost bent from the branches of trees. Shoes, gloves, ornaments of clothing hung within them. So fine, once. The lace must have been as opulent as the orators had once been. Now they are faded, but they are no less regal. The shapes and silhouettes they cut, even in the moonlight, still give this sense of passion and grandeur that was once dedicated purely for this stage, though now they lay forgotten, hung and hooked like men on the gallows.
The amphitheater is empty, of course, except for the orator, who sees you as you arrive. And he calls out, and even though he's all the way down on stage, and you're kind of maybe entering from like the upper tiers, we'll say, you can hear him perfectly well. He has a beautifully projecting voice. He says, "Ah, an audience! After all these years, I am Vos of House Oreen. Please, I was just reciting a conversation, a philosophical rambling about the nature of the dimning and the old fire. I fear you've missed the best bits, but that's all right. I can start over if you'd like."
Oh, do.
Yes, excellent. An audience. Imagine that. An audience is a fragile thing, you know. Eager, fickle, easily lost. But the world still listens, if you know how to speak to it. Every echo a reminder that someone somewhere once cared enough to answer. Until mere moments ago, I gave my speeches to the silence. The silence was very polite. And he bids you sit down. And he goes on. He begins his oration anew. What are you all doing in the meantime?
Theia makes her way towards one of the, I'm imagining sort of stone benches, perhaps. She doesn't seat herself, though. She kind of struts and frets her own hour upon the stage, but politely listens. And she was sure the version of this she knew was a little shorter, but she'll wait her turn while be politely giving attention to him.
Calyxe is paying no attention to him. Her attentions are pulled to the trees that crown the stage, the way that the light dances on the stage like in starlight through these crystals and fragments. But she cares nothing for the creature on stage preaching of what once was and what could have been and for memories long gone and forgot. It's all nonsense.
Ash listens to the orator, and he is at least a little grateful that at least this person who wishes to talk has taken the stage to do it. And he goes and he sits with Theia, but he's looking for Fenwyn.
Where are you, Fenwyn?
Fenwyn is skulking around in the shadows towards the back, but he is somewhat beguiled by this place and the place that he found himself with Periwinkle. Previously, these small little oases of beauty in this awful, rotting, mouldering place. And he's trying to connect how he's feeling to these locales, and isn't particularly keen on the others seeing him.
You think you're moving quite stealthily through the upper sections of the amphitheater when you are come upon by a knight. Almost suddenly, like they weren't there and now they are. They move almost as nimbly and quietly as you. This knight is dressed in armor that is very plain and unadorned, similar to Ash's armor. And he says, "Hello, friend. I am Malin the Just."
Well, Malin the Just, what brings you to this performance?
My colleague, Ash, brings me to this performance.
Ash, I see.
I was given a name, but I am not anxious to leave this world yet. I fear there is more work to be done here. I have come to beseech your help with a matter.
If it's to help with staying in this world the longer, I'm perhaps not the best person to speak to, but by all means, my ears are yours.
Our mutual colleague, Ash, has come into contact with a doughty warrior, a Sir Denebrae the Lion. Perhaps you've seen him or met him. It matters not. This Sir Denebrae has the same mission as all of you, to reach the throne of the Hidden King. I believe this Sir Denebrae would be a very capable ally. Indeed, I think he should be added to the company. My sense is that Ash disagrees with this. You must convince them that this is the right course. We need every brave warrior skilled in arms that we can find.
Fenwyn looks down at the motley crew that he's traveling around with, and he says, I fear this company is too large already. I tend to work and plow a solitary furrow.
Too large already?
The only person I trust does not exceed the end of my own nose. I don't wish to add to that.
And yet, our mutual colleague, Ash, journeys with an entire legion. What is one more soul?
Maybe we should ask him to test himself in combat, to prove his worth and to prove his honor.
To test Sir Denebrae.
Absolutely.
This is a good idea. An excellent idea. In my previous life, I would have looked down upon such prideful displays, but now that I have been granted my name, I can see the usefulness of it. I shall go and find Sir Denebrae myself and bring him here. We shall have this contest. Will you stand against him, or shall I?
I will.
Very well. And he's just gone as soon as he just fades away, disappears. And with that, I say, let us look north to the seams of reality. Let us reach our hands in and draw forth a new light, a new fire to lead the way. Thank you.
Oh, Prospero and Pruchford Water, let me free you from your island. And she'll throw a blackened rose with its petals falling and rotting at his feet.
Indeed. Let's take a look at this make camp move, shall we, since we're all here. When you and any other number of embers settle down to rest, you can tell a pleasant story from the time of the old fire or engage in your ritual. If you do, clear an appropriate condition or unmark an appropriate aspect. Then, as a group, you'll also discover a clue. If you're in a dangerous place, the keeper will ask one of you what you're afraid could happen if you let your guard down. I will start with Ash. What are you afraid is going to happen if you let your guard down?
My greatest fear in this world currently is Sir I am afraid that there is something hidden in the water that we are not aware of.
Now, I will ask the same question of another ember. That ember must say something different or build on Ash's answer. And so I will ask Calyxe, what are you afraid is going to happen if you let your guard down? You must say something new or build on what Ash said.
I'm afraid that what climbs out of the water are some of the undead knights that Ash once knew. And they come after us as we make camp and as we tell our little stories and indulge in our little rites. And they end us before we can even set eyes upon the hidden throne.
Theia, you have to either build on what's been said so far or say something new. What are you afraid is going to happen?
They will arise if even one of us sets foot in that water. And the water level is slowly rising.
Interesting. And finally, Fenwyn, either build on all that or say something new.
Yeah, I think that I'm afraid that it will become true that the orator has lured us here as to be a sacrifice to these things that are rising up from the water.
Very interesting indeed. Interesting.
I don't want this to happen. Like, low-key.
Yeah, low key.
And now I will say how it's worse than all that. It's not that they are going to rise to attack you. It's that they rise because they have been under siege for centuries by the rotgaunts of the Moldering Court, and they expect you to take up arms against the rotgaunts, and you're going to be caught in the middle of a battle that you weren't even aware of. And so that is the deal. The ember with the lowest cinder, or whoever I wish in the case of a tie, will roll with cinder. Who is that?
I believe it's between Ash and Fenwyn, who are on -2.
I'll go with, well, since we're kind of suggesting it might be the Nameless Legion, like some dead members of the Nameless Legion in here, we're going to go with you, Ash.
Yeah.
Please roll with cinder.
Okay.
Let me take a look at your conditions to see if any of those might apply as well. No, I don't think so.
Calm down. Oh, God. It's a 2.
Fantastic. Let's keep going on the move here. So had you got a 10, the rest period passes without incident. On a 7 to 9, it would pass without incident, but your campsite attracts unwanted attention, and something will be following you. On a miss, however, the worst comes to pass. So it's actually kind of a relaxed environment. Vos of House Oreen also happens to have a lovely singing voice, and so maybe, I don't know, Theia, you can decide, but maybe you're duetting or something. And at one point there's this like a sort of like wind blows through, and there's this beautiful spiral of partially rotten rose petals flying through the air. And there are little votive candles that have been lit in the mucky water, and everything is just a little relaxed, a little chill. I'll remind you that to get the benefit of the move, you have to tell a pleasant story from the time of the old fire, perhaps something you're remembering right now, or you have to engage in your personal ritual. But in any case, I will turn the scene over to the four of you, and I have some things to interject with various side characters as well.
Theia will, she will play her guitar and duet with this new companion for a while. But after a while, she will offer a story in return for his oration. She'll make her way into that stage in the center of this amphitheatre. And at the moment that the light of the two moons shines through these crystals and projects light onto the mouldering curtains, she will take the opportunity to create shadows upon them and play out the story of a knight who makes the way across the world and slays fearsome beasts, slays other knights even, fights, and burns what he comes across in his endless quest. And she will narrate as she projects these shadow puppets onto the curtains behind her. She will narrate, if you are a man, they call you a hero. If you are a man, they call you a lion. But if you are a woman, they call you a witch. She will create a woman who comes across this knight and is cut in twain by his knife. She will say it's better this way, as the knight starts a fire that shimmers through the lights of these crystals. She says this world had it coming.
Granny Lou is sitting on one of the benches, and she's like, "Hear, hear, hear, hear."
She says he's not fearsome. He just can't be stopped. And she'll take a bow as Granny Lou cheers. And with that, her ritual of the story taker is complete. And I'd like to clear shaky hands, please.
Fantastic. Yes. What's everyone else doing?
Fenwyn is currently perched up in the treetops, in the rafters of this auditorium, or as far up as he can be, and he is shutting out all of the song. He's shutting out all of the strums of the gitten and the applause and any kind of applause or plaudits that are being chucked around so fecklessly down there. He is trying to shut everything out because he is on edge, thinking that something bad is going to happen, and it's his business to know that something bad is going to happen and do something about it before it does. And he looks down at the group below and has never felt less prepared to deal with anything bad happening. But he just gets the sense, whether it's the sounds he can hear through the mangroves and the fetid swamp, or just a certain ambience that he can attune to out there. He knows that it's like that deep breath before the plunge, and feels incredibly anxious about it, but doesn't want to show it to anyone else. And I think he descends from from up high on a vine or something, and just kind of appears next to Ash. Not quite upside down like Spider-Man, but you know, that sort of vibe. And he says to Ash, don't shoot the messenger. But one of your spectral comrades asked me to ask you whether you would consider expanding this traveling party or adventuring group, I don't know what you'd like to call it, and suggested someone that you have already made quite an impression on, Sir Denebray. Does that ring any bells?
Ash, who had been sitting and just kind of rolling his shoulders back and forth to try and ease some tension, looks to you as you say this and then closes his eyes. Ever burning, grant me the patience, grant me the grace, because if you grant me the strength, that will kill him. Who are you speaking to?
Sorry, who was I speaking to?
Malin the Just.
Malin the Just, who seemed insistent that Sir Denebray would, I mean, didn't go so far as to say this, but would lead us to glory in lands afar and to the throne of the Hidden King. I have my doubts and tend not to believe the dead, but it's okay, because all it will take is besting Sir Denebray in combat to for him to prove his valor to us and to prove his worth. And I'm sure it's just a simple matter of besting him, and he can just go about his own business, because I sense you're not keen having him enmeshed in ours.
Fenwyn, I have fought a bit against Sir Denebray. I did, in fact, not win. Though, to be fair, that is because I wasn't really fighting. He was using a sword, I was using a stick. It was a whole thing. But not really. He seemed to have gotten this idea in his head about me going on a journey with him, as if the old fire had called me to him and not all of you. So I'm not sure he's very interested in bringing all of us together with him.
I think it's at that point that Calyxe just rounds the corner and hears what's being said. I could offer an alternative solution if Denebray is providing problems.
I'm not so much saying he's a problem,
There was a time when the Crux Druids and the Nameless Knights had a sort of, tentative alliance. Do you know that story, Ash? There was a ritual, I believe, your Nameless Knights used to undertake. They would head to the Great Forest in an attempt to give her a name. It was said that a knight that gave the forest a name, one that she accepted, would become ruler of the great emerald that she was. And so, they went to the naming tree. The naming tree is a great white gnarled thing. And what they would do is carve upon the tree the name they believed belonged to the forest. If the tree accepted it, it would remain for all to see. They would carve and carve, sometimes for days, and then they would go and make camp and return in the morning to see if the name remained. But none ever did. The tree seemed to grow over each and every one of the names that were carved into it, until the trunk became thick with scar memory. These thousands, hundreds of thousands of names that had been rejected by the forest. The Crux druids found this rite amusing. To think that man could ever own a forest, but they allowed the nameless knights this little habit. So, as there was an alliance then, maybe there could be an alliance now. You have a problem, I could help you take care of it, especially if it is in the form of a man.
At which point, Fenwyn interjects and says, the invitation to single combat has been issued. Should we call this Plan C?
Oh, little mouse. So hung up on your honor, your crowns, your days of old. What is it that you fear of the earth?
I don't fear the earth. I fear those with faith in it.
You fear faith? How dangerous of you. How soulless of you. Makes me wonder what that crown ever stood for. Surely it could not have meant that much to you if you have no faith, little mouse.
Fenwyn is within his own rights to believe or disbelieve what he wishes. It's not for you to decide if he's right, Calyxe.
My faith in the earth and his loyalty to his lost, dead crown are two sides of the same coin, but he would like to think us far more different than we really are. Isn't that right, little mouse?
Nothing you say is right. You witch of sprig and kindling.
I'm going to cut over to elsewhere. Theia, perhaps as you're kind of coming off stage, you'll overhear Granny Lou chatting with Periwinkle, actually. You haven't met Periwinkle yet, but he's there, and you can kind of hear him saying, "But what am I to do, Granny Lou? I'm in love with them both, and they're in love with me. And I fear that it's going to come to blows if we don't resolve this matter soon. Oh, I do hate being in a love triangle." And Granny Lou says, she kind of like excoriates him and to put on some clothes and stop worrying about such trifling matters. What do you do?
Oh, you poor darling, to be cursed with beauty and adoration.
Yes, you must understand that.
Oh, yes.
Right now, my heart is in twain.
Ah. And who are the two celestial bodies that you are drawn towards, like a tide?
Well, on the one hand, I have brave, gallant Sir Denebray the lion, my beautiful red-maned cat. And then on the other, I have this man of mystery that I met just today in the Arboretum. And he kind of takes your hand and he says, "I fear it's going to come to blows. I fear they're going to go to war over me."
What is your name?
I'm called Periwinkle.
Oh, Periwinkle.
Yes.
So you are the reason the ferret's rodent teeth are sticking out of his mouth. Have you considered that love does not have to be limited to two bodies alone? That worship and adoration and love can be shared between many, not a little flower box, but a garden.
Oh, yes. Before I became a Rotgaunt, I was a Fae. And the Fae, of course, take many lovers. And, well, I'm more concerned about my two current suitors. I think that they will demand my attention exclusively.
Oh, and who could blame them?
Well, yes. Even in my dilapidated state, I am still, well, let's just say, I do the best I can to preserve myself in this misery. As you can see.
Indeed. Indeed.
What am I to do if they come to blows?
Well, it's simple enough. You take a seat and watch. I'm sure it'll be fascinating.
And at that point, that's when Malin the Just and Sir Denebray arrive at the amphitheater. There he is now. Oh no. He mustn't see me here. And he scampers off.
Granny Lou, I do like this wanton tide that's washed in.
She says, oh, it's all just a bunch of bother. She gets up and stomps off. Sir Denebray is there, and he says, I have been told that there is some villain here in the amphitheater that wishes to challenge me. Well, go ahead then. Show yourself.
Villain is a little strong, but the challenge is extended.
He looks up and down, pointedly down, and says, You are who I am to battle?
Yep.
Where is your sword? Where is your shield? Your lance?
I will make this simple for you. Apparently, you bested my comrade of the Nameless Legion.
Again, I was using a stick.
Quite handily, yes.
I will not even give you that advantage. And Fenwyn gets the harpoon out, the harpoon that he dug out of old Gore, and he finds a sort of notch between the stone on the stage and stands it upright and then just starts spinning it like a top just stood up. And he says to Sir Denebray, why not, let's say, you have until this harpoon stops spinning and falls to land a single blow on me.
Very good. This is good. Even though it's nighttime, I do think this is the light move still. I like this a lot. What are you afraid is going to happen if you fail?
I'm afraid we're going to be stuck with this guy for quite some time. Yeah, because he beats me.
Oh, that's great. Okay, good. This is going to be with vitality, of course. And let's take a look at your conditions.
Well, you may as well, because I'm going to burn one. I think that not having Sir Denebray as our leader is an act of mercy for the group. So I'm going to burn Merciful for a 10+.
The scene is yours.
The javelin spins. My back is turned, but Sir Denebray is a more chivalrous, more honorable man than that. And what we see is a few kind of probing thrusts from Sir Denebray that Fenwyn doesn't even need to move that much to avoid. They pass him by millimeters. He's almost like he's not moving. But Ash knows swordsmanship and footwork and is bewitched by the balletic poise of Fenwyn as he circles the increasingly frustrated and tiring Sir Denebray, who is blustering and laboring, and each swing is becoming heavier and less accurate. And after about 2 or 3 minutes, one huge swing of this mighty sword is telegraphed so easily to Fenwyn to step aside, and he gets lodged in the proscenium arch, and the harpoon stops spinning, falls, and Fenwyn catches it, looks to Ash and Calyxe and the others and says, well, that settles that.
Bravo! Bravo! And Periwinkle runs from the shadows, having been watching this entire thing, and throws himself into your arms, Fenwyn, and says, "You fought so bravely for me."
That's very it's very dear to me that you think that the fight was for you, but my altruism does no bounds, I'm afraid.
Oh, my mysterious man. Modesty does not suit you. You have incredible talent. You have incredible skill, and you have shown yourself to be, well, quite the contestant, and I am your prize.
And I a worthy winner.
Where shall we go? Shall we seek the old capital?
Let's
I know we were discussing it before in the Arboretum, and you were being a bit coy, but I can see now that you liked my idea. We go to the old capital. We see what still remains. I've heard that the walls were sealed away from the Dimning, that everything is as it was before. We could find a little villa, a little chalet, perhaps, a cottage, even. And oh, this is going to be wonderful.
I'm not usually one for romance and sentiment, but I can tell that those are central tenets to your identity. You've reminded me of something, Periwinkle, but that's all it is. You've reminded me of something I've lost, and I don't want to lose it again. So let's not move too quickly with this.
He looks down. Oh. All right. I understand. It's because of the bloom rot, isn't it?
It didn't help.
There might be a cure. We could find a cure together. We could...
And Fenwyn kind of just puts his kind of finger towards his lips, not on his lips, and just says, just know when the battle is won.
Let's get back to this make camp move. Who still needs to clear a condition in whatever way they do it? Or unmarks an aspect, for that matter.
I was going to unmark the iron sickle attached to a long chain by the descriptions of carving from the story of the naming tree.
Love it. Theia's already sorted. Ash, did you have a condition or aspect you want to clear?
I still need to clear strained. I think as Fenwyn and Sir Denebrae are having the little back and forth, Ash is watching intently, and with Calyxe to his side, this sort of reminds me of something I saw as a child, not in quite a place like this, but I think when I was younger, there was a carnival of a sort, smaller though. There were people bouncing around, sort of like Fenwyn, but with a bit more costumery and flamboyance. You know, Fenwyn does not seem the type. Perhaps he was in a different life.
Indeed.
And he turns to Calyxe. It's sort of like in and among all of you, I can see aspects of the people that were there. Of course, we have Theia, who is very talented at singing. You should have heard her in the caves on Elegy.
I heard her in the tower when we fought the pallbearer. A howl that could have rivaled 1,000 wolves.
'Twas the sweetest thing I'd heard in a long time. And of course there's Fenwyn, who is quite agile. Perhaps a acrobat or a tightrope walker.
Yes. I personally could see him in more clown makeup, but it is your memory.
I don't think it would suit him much. And then there's you.
Indulge me in my little jokes.
You are something so dangerous. Perhaps something like a sword swallower or a fire eater.
I think a sword swallower. I always wanted to know how they did that. And what of you, Ash? What were you in the time before? So resolute, so full of pride. A strong man, perhaps.
Perhaps. But that was a person I was pretending to be.
Weren't we all?
I'd like to think I'm more myself now than I was before. Or maybe I'm still pretending.
I think Calyxe fixes you with those sap-burned eyes and really looks into Ash's. The more I learn about you, Ash of the Nameless, the more I come to see that there is so much more hidden. You do very well to disguise yourself, more so than the mouse. I wonder what will happen when we see you for what you truly are. When the mask slips. When the name is retaken, perhaps.
Perhaps.
Oh, it would appear that the clown's battle is done. And Sir Denbray need not hound our footsteps anymore. I suppose you have him to thank for that at the very least.
It's almost a shame. I would have liked to see him meet you properly.
There's time. There's always time.
Which condition were you going for there, or which aspect were you unmarking?
I was trying to release my strain.
Oh, okay, very good. Yeah. Did you want to trigger the move, Fenwyn?
Yeah. When I was in the eaves, I was my ritual was the Watcher's Stillness.
Oh,
trying
good.
to
Yeah.
sense any incoming threats. But I think I'm not going to mark it, but narratively is kind of what I want to do. Because we're in this environment, in my equipment, I have a quick change kit with like stage makeup and prosthetic clay. I think I'm going to cover the bloom rot with the stage makeup.
Okay, good. Yeah.
You can't see it,
Yeah.
but it's like, you know how like makeup artists put like hemorrhoid cream on actresses' faces to like get rid of it actually works and clears the bloom rot. I've got a cure. It's just in my kit the whole time.
I don't know if it's cured so much as it just doesn't affect you negatively anymore, right? I think that's the key. Yeah. The evening is entirely pleasant. Even Sir Denebray, after his humiliation, he sort of plays up this whole like, what could be more noble than like, accepting when you have been defeated by a worthy foe, and he sits down to on the edges of the group, but he's there, and he there's no hard feelings, essentially is what I'm getting at. Granny Lou might even come in with perhaps a more effective tincture for your bloom rot. She also, you can tell that she's looking after Periwinkle quite a bit. Like, Periwinkle's bloom rot is very bad. And it seems that the Fae who became rotcons, they can't shake it. All she can do is just try to ease it, right? And try to minimize the spread. And so there's a little bit of that going on. Vos of House Oreen is there as well. And all in all, it's fairly restful. At some point, Ash, Malin the Just sits down next to you. He doesn't have to physically sit, but I think there's something about putting you at ease to where he does. He appears to sit next to you. He has his helmet off at this point. You can kind of see I think he's got like red hair and a little red goatee, a sign of pride, creeping pride. But he has a name now, so it doesn't matter. He says, "I'm sorry about earlier. I just thought that Sir Denebrae might help you reach the throne of the Hidden King. That is what is most important now, that you not just name me and the other members of the Legion, but that you give yourself a name on the throne and reshape this world."
Malin, why is it so important that I do it?
Because the old fire brought you back, my friend.
But I have, as far as I can tell, no desire for this whole thing. I don't know why the Everburning brought me back. It's to go to the capital and reclaim the throne, everyone says. And that is what we're moving towards, but I don't fully understand why any of this is happening.
I suppose that's why we're here. Perhaps there are answers to be found with the Putrescent Queen. Perhaps if we make the journey to the undead village to see their moonlit lodge, who knows? Perhaps it has something to do with the lord of this place. We are aware of this dragon, Noxiliax. We, meaning the Legion. We can feel him in every blade of grass and every leaf, on every tree. And he is aware as well that there are fires here other than his own. It is all... It is a lot. And now that I have been named, I should have moved on. In truth, this is no longer my concern. But I feel compelled to at least help you see this to the end. Then I will take my leave.
I'm grateful, Mal.
You know, it's funny. I remember this place. And I don't just mean the Rose Court, I mean this amphitheater specifically. I remember a battle was fought here. The Nameless Legion fought a battle here. I recall it. I can't remember what we were sent here to do. Only that we were hired to... Well, most likely we were hired here to destroy a rebel Fey noble or some such thing. I don't know. Perhaps we had some business with the Rose Maiden. Perhaps... I don't know, but I remember distinctly. Many of our companions fell in this place. And I think here, the water disturbed by Fenwyn and Sir Denebrae's fight, we start to actually see rising up from the sunken portion of the amphitheater. We see skeletons in rusted armor rising up. Vos of House Oreen, he actually begins orating to them. Yes, your time is now. Now that we are all here. We are all here and we can take a stand once more. Once more. We can change history. We can turn back the tide. We can do as we were meant to do all those many years ago. To destroy the wilted Marquis. Who will join this brave company? I'm curious what you're all doing as you see skeletal warriors rising from the water and Vos speechifying to them.
Jesus, Ash recognizing that they are nameless and what Malin was speaking of, Ash is going to look to Vos. Stop. Stop what it is you're doing. The dead rest. The nameless rest.
The dead will rest when their task is done. And then he kind of calls out with that loud, clear voice that carries. Come out now, wilted Marquis. We have risen to challenge you once again. Show yourself. Bring any and all to the battle. Let our steel clash. Let old grudges be settled now. And at this point, you see quite a lot of rotgaunts converging on the amphitheater. Also, they have in tow quite a lot of oversized insects, gigantic like cockroaches and millipedes. And they're just sort of cordoning in. The sort of lesser rotgaunts, they're a little bit like periwinkle, actually. They don't really have any clothing on. It's all withered away over time. And they have all manner of festering bloom rot, kind of nastiness on their skin and their flesh, lesions and growths and bud swellings. But also, the wilted Marquis is there. He's dressed in, he has like this enormous, like, it's like a cape, but it has like big shoulder pauldrons, and so he looks very tall and like dramatic, and he calls out to you. Once we bloomed too brightly, and now you will all see how sweetly we rot. We hosted you in our court, and you betrayed us. And now that you have shown yourself once again, let this be the end of it. You're in the middle of some fucking old centuries-long grudge between the Rose Court and the Nameless Legion, or maybe even House Oreen. It's a little unclear. What are you all doing right now as the battle breaks out? As giant bugs begin swarming, as rotgaunts begin casting their fey magic, as skeletal warriors by the dozens slosh out of the water and begin swinging their rusty blades. I'm just gonna go around the table. If you're trying to flee, you can flee. If you're gonna fight back, you can fight back. I'm gonna start with Fenwyn.
Fenwyn appears next to Sedanabre and says, now's the time to prove yourself as not just one unequal to my match and defend us. And I'm going to try and kind of convince him to lead the charge.
I like that very much. I'm not sure he needs any convincing, but I like it. But it sounds like you're going to be just jumping into the fray. Is that kind of the idea? Okay. Calyxe, what are you going to do?
As Fenwyn goes to convince Sedenabre to go forward, I think she wants to find Theia and Ash and be like, this is not our fight. This is a fight that has prevailed for centuries. We should not intervene here. We have work to do. We can stop this elsewhere, but running in will not aid the situation. I am leaving.
You're going to try to escape. Theia, what do you do?
Theia will look to Calyxe and say, you who dreamed of how to swallow swords, you who spend time sinking them into others, yet you choose neither, to run away, splintered twig. Cowardly. And she's going to try and find a good vantage point. I'm picturing an amphitheatre, it often has sort of raked seats, right? So if you get up to the back of it, it's overlooking. She wants to watch this battle unfold, and she wants to choose her moment to project her voice over and address them.
Oh, very good. Ash, these are still former members of your legion. What do you do?
Ash would like to... I'm going to use one of my relics, the Banner of the Nameless Legion, and I would like to, in that moment, try to draw their attention away from this imminent clash, because there's an aspect on it. Its nothingness was so profound, even the old fire dimmed when the banner was raised, and I would just like to quash this immediately to like kind of pause what is about to happen.
Oh, so you actually want basically like to have them return to their watery graves, essentially. Is that the idea?
Yes, or at least bide time in between.
I like that. I think there's an order of operations here. We'll start with Calyxe escaping. So Calyxe, this is going to be the dark move. What are you afraid is going to happen if you fail? Or how do you try to escape, first of all?
I think she'll use the shadows being cast by the trees. She will try and weave between them, knowing the roots, trusting the earth to guide her. And I think it will go wrong in that the earth will trip her up. It will see her face down in the dirt and then trodden on by an army of bugs and or undead.
That sounds pretty bad, so I'm not going to go worse than that. This is going to be with composure, we'll say. Let me take a look at your conditions. Your conditions don't apply, so go ahead.
Okay, and I don't really have... Oh, I'm going to use the living tendrils of old Gore to help me, that I took. The ones that allowed him to sort of move through the forest quite flawlessly.
Oh,
I'm
I like
going
that.
to use
That's
those.
good. Yeah, that's good.
So... Oh, fuck me. 5. Two 1s and a 3. That is disgusting.
It's not great.
No.
Let's get the battle going here. Yeah, Sir Denebrae charges in, and he says, "Yes, it would be a great honor to fight by your side, man of shadow. And hopefully I shall be able to redeem myself."
Hilariously, Fenwyn is not there.
"I feel terribly ashamed of how you were able to best me, and perhaps now I shall be able to right things. Onward to battle!" This is the dark move. What do you afraid is going to happen if you fail? And how do you, just generally speaking, how do you avail yourself here?
Yeah, so Fenwyn is heading for the orator on stage, and he's going to try and kind of threaten his life to see if it'll make it all stop.
Oh, I like it. That's good.
So I think he's just looking for an avenue to get there, and I think he's probably riding on the back of a millipede or something that, you know, he's Fenwynning around, and he's going to try and appear behind the orator and get to him.
I love it. That's great. It's going to be with vitality, and let's see how you do.
Yeah, I'm going to mark the aspect of the mouse in the tower, which is then bowed low and slipped past its paws as softly as dust.
What do you think is going to happen if you fail?
I'm afraid that I will be just kind of absorbed into this churning mass of chitin and insect and zombie, and I'm really afraid that Sedenabre will insist on taking my place in the group.
How's it worse than that? I think it's worse than that because you will also see that Periwinkle is beset by some skeleton warriors. He's not a part of this at all, but they don't know that. They just see Rotgaunt. So go ahead and roll with Vitality. Let's see how you do.
7.
This is unarmed combat in its sense. Do you want to mark an aspect?
Oh, yeah.
You roll a die?
I will re-roll this 1.
Yeah, you have to mark a new aspect, but yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. I will go with Par Shadow that parted for the gentle. 10.
Nice. Be thinking of what your move looks like here. I actually think that this will work. You will be able to like convince Vos to at least stop his part of it, whatever that happens to be. I want to check in with Ash. You actually have like a really specific problem here, which is there is a great big wave of undead, of former Nameless Legion, that is actually, they actually managed to punch through the Wilted Marquise, like sort of like line, and they are going to get out into the Moldering Court so that the fight will go beyond the amphitheater. And so if you want to use your banner here in this instance, I think this is the use here. What do you do exactly?
As the nameless skeletons are moving, Ash will draw this length of pale cloth. Nameless. And he is hissing the word, but it, because of the amphitheater, is carrying further than it's meant to. And so he is drawing their attention, wielding this banner. Halt your motion. Mind yourselves. We do not do this. You have fought your battles. You have been brave. You will rest.
This is great. I think it's going to be with presence. This is going to be the dark move. What are you afraid is going to happen if you fail?
I'm afraid they're not going to listen to me and bow past.
How is it worse than that? I think that they're actually kind of crazy now. Like, they don't remember their like Nameless Legion vows or anything. And it's actually worse than that. They actually take Malin the Just with them as a traitor to the order. So go ahead and roll with presence.
So presence, and then I'm marking the thing, so that's advantage. Yeah. Okay. Presence is 10.
Nice. Theia, you said you were kind of getting up high, like away from the group. Maybe there's like a little, like kind of, like a little seating area where like maybe Lady Kendwin would have sat, you know, like a kind of box seat or something that overlooks everything. I'm not sure what you had planned specifically, but I will tell you what you find when you get up there. There is a man standing there, almost as if waiting for you, as if he knew you were going to be here. He's wearing a morning coat, that's MOURNING, a morning coat edged with ash and pinned with a single white rose. He's kneeling next to a skeleton that's laid up there. And he says, "Oh, it's all right. Yes, yes, you were good not to rise, like the rest. And he sees you as you come and he says, "Ah, Ember. Please, step inside my salt circle." It's too late, you already have. And as soon as you step inside the circle, Theia, the clash of battle, the chittering of the giant insects, the fey magic, all the sound down below, quiet, just goes completely quiet. It's just you and this man and this skeleton in this box. I am called the last step. And I fear this is yours, Ember. And he takes out a long stiletto from his coat. Do you have anything you would like to say before I send you back to the grave, foul undead?
This is a rather strange performance you're putting on, dear friend. I'm afraid I'm not sure I've understood the core of it.
It's not what I would use my last words on, but that's all right by me. Have at you, abomination! And he thrusts forward with the stiletto. What do you do?
Theia thinks of the way that Fenwyn moves around a spinning harpoon. And she thinks of the story of the circus performers. And she dances out of the way.
What will you do after you dance out of the way to try to deal with this man?
I will dance past his stiletto blade. I shall ring a bell that rings without sound to awaken this little skeleton friend, and I shall leave him to deal with the problem that I've created.
That's good. I like it. That's good. It's going to be quick thinking. It's a reason for quick thinking. What do you afraid is going to happen if you fail?
Well, that I won't get to make the lovely speech I had prepared because I've been stabbed.
Very good. How is it worse than that? I don't know. Oh, it's worse than that. The last step just goes down to the battle to take care of the rest of the embers. So go ahead and roll with reason.
All right. I want to mark the bell that rings without sound.
Okay.
Does that mean I roll with advantage? Is that correct?
You do indeed. Okay.
Okay. Oh, that's 6 on the dice, and my reason is 1, so 7.
7. Calyxe, you run in your cowardice. You try to flee the amphitheater. Indeed, as you're kind of like leaving the amphitheater and trying to make your way through this sort of like mucky woods that surround it, the bog is filled with rot gaunts and giant insects, and you can hear like the clash and and the screeching. And you have old Gore's tendrils that are helping lead you through the trees, right? And it looks like you're going to get away. Except you are face to face with a pair of rot gaunts. And they don't know who you are, but they know you're not a rot gaunt. And they hold out their hands and they make circles with their hands. And it opens up this enormous portal, this tear in the air, out of which flood thousands upon thousands of fist-sized spiders that swarm over your body and consume you, tearing you apart with their mandibles and injecting you with so much venom that your heart just explodes before your body can even be torn to pieces. Now, there's a way you can avoid this, of course, by stoking the fire. But also, alternatively, what'd you get on your die roll? A 5?
I got 3 on the die, plus 2 for composure.
Yeah, okay, so 5 total. So if there's a way that your companions can get you up to 7, you can survive this. Maybe Malin the Brave or the Just or whatever his name is, maybe can help, or something else. I don't know, but in any case, if the group has ways of helping you with their aspects, that's another way.
I actually, because the last time I summoned 2 knights, and
Right.
I've only dealt with Malin. So there's another unnamed knight. So if the two of them give you +1s, that gets you to 7.
Now, the one that when you kept Malin, was that from your new move that Brothers May Stand?
Yes.
Okay, so those can only help with struggles mechanically. So this is not a struggle. So the other knight can, though. That can be one of the two for sure. I could also see a situation where the complication for your role, Theia, is you're not going to be able to make your speech, but you will be able to help Calyxe from your high vantage point if you have an aspect that would help.
Fine. All right. Let me see.
Unless, of course, Jess just wants to stoke the fire. That's also an option, of course.
I think I can help. Should Calyxe accept it? I have a length of barbed wire, cut in mercy and resentment from round the neck of old Gore, and I think both mercy and resentment are things that might be felt should that barbed wire swing through the air and knock these rock gaunts out of your path.
Oh, that's pretty good. I like it. I kind of like the idea of like Calyxe stole that from you, and Calyxe just has it, and that's why Calyxe is getting the benefit of it right now.
Yes.
Yeah, 100%.
Because otherwise, I don't know how. Because if you're not like in physical proximity to each other, you can maybe see Calyxe, but
I mean, I just get away in time to see Calyxe pulling out like the thing.
Yeah, you see Calyxe pulling it out. Yeah. I think that'd be great. Okay, so that's how our scene will kind of resolve itself there. Ash, you have to stop the surge that's leaving the amphitheater. What does that look like?
Ash is holding aloft the banner, drawing the attention of the knights. And I think as they are surging forward, there is a moment where he steps onto one of the tiered stone steps of the amphitheater, and he starts to climb higher so that they can see the banner across all of these heads. Those of the nameless, rest and kneel. You have fought, and you have perished, and you must go. And there is a slowing that happens to the surge and then a stillness. And as they come to a stop, deliver yourselves to peace. Deliver yourselves to quiet. Slow and dark and rest. And the knights begin to kneel, and some of them lay. And there's just a gentle sloshing of water as they begin to disappear beneath the waves.
Fenwyn, Sir Denebray is just like punching a big, kind of like paw-shaped gauntlet, just punching right through giant beetles and centipedes and stuff, just smashing their chitin. Every time a rock gaunt gets close to him, he just like, swings his sword and cuts the rock gaunt down, and he's, come at me, he's like in the middle of it. What are you doing? How do you are ultimately going to stop all of this? What does that look like?
So Fenwyn is furious at himself for not seeing this coming. He knew something was wrong, but he was so caught up in the duel with Sir Denebray and the war of words with Calyxe and the point scoring and the individual goals and desires of this group, to not realize that history is just repeating itself. He has spent too many years at the service of people who are happy to order thousands to their deaths, and he is just a part of that machine. And here he is again, and he gets that awful feeling the same as he got the first night he heard the dimning. Seeing all of these sides locked in a centuries, millennia old conflict over what? And it's just this violent exhibition of hate. And as he's kind of taking it all in, he's worked his way up onto the stage behind the orator and has the barbed tip of the harpoon under his chin. He never saw him coming. People rarely see Fenwyn coming. And he says, "You can end this now, and you should."
A little bit before that, Theia, since you got a mid-result, I'll narrate. Your fancy footwork, maybe right at the same moment Fenwyn's doing his fancy footwork, you manage to like dodge the last steps, stiletto. You ring that bell, which makes no sound already, but it makes something about the way that like interacts with his magic inside the circle, causes the skeleton to like snap to life. And it's kind of like a horror movie scene where it just snaps to life and just grabs onto the last step and plunges a rusty dagger into the last step's neck, and just bones chattering as the last step like collapses down. Before you have a chance to make your speech, Fenwyn will have resolved the battle anyway, but from your vantage point, you will see Calyxe pulling out that barbed weapon that was stolen from you. And Calyxe, I'm gonna take you up to the point of you encounter the two rot gaunts in the woods. How does that weapon help you escape them? And also the other knight as well, the spectral knight.
As these two rock gaunts begin to pull their hands into these portal shapes and spread themselves wide, Calyxe looks to the spectral knight, and there is something of a lost pride about him. This great hulking figure donned in great armor. Next to her, clad in rags and mud and dirt. And it is this two sides of the same coin element that she was preaching about to Fenwyn, coming home to roost. And she nods to the knight and dodges left to take the rock gaunt on the left, and the knight dodges right to take the rock gaunt on the right. And she can't quite reach for the heartwood nails or the tenderbark confessor, and she can't quite get a grip on Harrow the Martyr Catcher, but from within her hair, from within where she has hidden it, where it has been pressed gently against her scalp, where it has been bleeding her and reminding her of great, beautiful suffering that must always be felt for the land to feed, she rips it, and great clumps of her own hair, this great barbed wire, and lunges at the rock gaunt, wrapping it round his neck, as the spectral knight next to her deftly, elegantly deals with the rock gaunt. There is just this chasmous divide of two ways in which to die, with honor and pride, and down in the mud and the dirt, choking on your own blood. And Calyxe revels in both.
But also take the condition thief.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Warriors! Warriors of the Rose Court, the Nameless Legion, hear me now, he says as his spear tip is under his chin. Why should we settle our differences with violence? Is it not violence that invited the dimning onto our shores? Is it not hatred that caused the old fire to turn its burning eyes away from us? Yes, Yes, I say to you all now, go back to your watery tomb. Go back to your mouldering, flower-strewn beds. Go back to your nests, your muddy pits, he says as a big insect crawls over his foot. Let there be peace. And they do. And everything is calm. Granny Lou is still sitting on the bench. She never moved. Periwinkle comes out from hiding, and Sir Denebray is covered in gore and really feeling himself. What do you do, Fenwyn, with Vos?
I think the theme of tonight's play for today is mercy. And Fenwyn has shown it, and he has shown it. And I think I wonder if there is some sort of exchange between him and Fenwyn. Like, I know we get to define a clue as the.
Oh, that could be that. Yeah, we could do that.
And I think that he's gonna, as sort of like be on your way type thing. He's gonna give it to us. So I think that's how I'd like it to feel.
Yeah, that's good. I like it. I'll give you a clue. You are owed one from the longest mate camp ever. So the perhaps not the most restful of the mate camps. Yeah. He will give you a broken mask of lacquered petals, one side pristine, the other melted. And he puts it in your hands and says, "Here lies the truth of Lady Kendwin and her beloved. My gift to you, a peace offering, a gift of gratitude that I did not have to go down this dark path, yea, that I do not have to go down it anymore."
Thank you. Your gratitude is much appreciated. Bid us safe passage from this place.
You may go with my blessing. Think I shall give the pipes a rest for the rest of the evening. And he goes off. And that will wrap the scene. You will be able to get enough rest until the next day. The sun is back. Oh, you wanted to see him with Periwinkle, right? Was it Periwinkle, Theia?
Yeah,
Is the next morning okay?
Day,
yeah. Okay, yeah. Yeah, we'll start with that. The next morning, the sun is rising. Everything is calm. Honestly, the place is in such a kind of decayed state that the evidence of the battle from the night before doesn't even really detract from the appearance of the place. And you'll see Periwinkle. I think he and Granny Lou kind of fell asleep, together on a bench. And he kind of wakes up and he sees you and he says, "Oh." He looks at his bloom-wrought hands and says, "Oh, it wasn't a dream after all."
Good morning, sorrowful tide.
Something like that.
I have something to show you. Will you come with me?
Of course. And he gets up and he kind of stretches.
She'll take him by the hand, trying to hide her disdain for the bloom rot. But she will take it, and she'll lead him to some quiet place out of sight, where Theia has, in the early morning light, gathered as many rose petals as she can find, and laid them out on the ground.
He says, "What's the meaning of this?"
She takes his hands and says, "Sorrowful tide, I can see that you are ebbing. I can see that you yearn to recapture something which is lost. let me give you a gift of a moment when we can revisit that time.
All right.
She'll sit down on the petals and invite Periwinkle to join her. And as their bodies crush these rotting petals, that perfume, that cloying, slightly rotten scent rises into their nostrils. And she will stroke his hair and murmur to him, "It's gone. That time of many lovers, that time of flesh and skin and mingled breath, of lips brushing and the intertwining music of moans and cries and gasps. It's not coming back, poor spurned tide. But won't you lie with me here and remember it?" And she'll allow him to lay down, and she'll think on the love that she has lost as he thinks on his, and she will sing him. Rose, sweet rose, your thorns are blunted. Shed your woes, your fading blooms. Rose, dark rose, with roots still hunted. Anguish grows in this dank tomb. Rose, lost rose, your head so weighty, drooping shows your coming end. Rose, oh rose, amongst the debris, greet sweet death as your old friend, as your old friend.
It is the next day, and I guess at this point, those of you who are going to seek out the rumors of the undead village and the moonlit lodge, if you're going to leave and set out, now might be the time to do that. Who was going? I know Calyxe was going to go for sure. Ash, were you still going to go?
Well, I wouldn't want to leave Calyxe on her own, would I?
As long as we go by way of Castle Brandigan?
Bragan.
Then, yep.
Very good. Then we'll set the two of you out on your journey. Fenwyn and Theia. Theia, I think that I don't think we need to roleplay the scene between you and Periwinkle after that. I think it's enough to just leave it off screen. But I think that like anybody who encounters Periwinkle for the rest of the day and maybe even after will find him considerably less distraught about his circumstances, or at least at peace with what he lost. Fenwyn, what are you up to?
I think that the previous night's affairs has added to the intrigue that Fenwyn feels about this place, what it reminded him on from his past, and what state it's in now. And I think that he has awoken today more determined than ever to kind of find answers. And I'm not even sure whether or not he might just go off exploring by himself. I imagine Theia would sleep in. Artists. But I think Fenwyn would.
Well, she had to put all those roses out though, yeah. So maybe not.
She was up before you, asshole.
I was actually under the rose petals, so yeah. So I think Fenwyn will want to keep checking back in with Theia, but I think he's going to go and walk a path alone, I think.
Let's see where that path takes you. I think it's going to take you to the fungal menagerie. You arrive in a place where rot-swollen mushrooms crowd every path in impossible shapes. Luminous spores drift through the hot, humid air. Soft chittering rises from beneath the muck as unseen things feed. Let's paint the scene, everyone. The Fae once cultivated living wonders here. What fungal form hints at an artistry that persists?
I think there is an elaborately maned, frilled fungus that has this faded, definitely, but peacock-like bloom to it, and it has that kind of oil on water shimmer still, and it stands out in and amongst the greys and browns of the mould.
So, with fungus, at least in our world, the majority of it is not seen. It's this mycelium network underneath the earth and inside of bark and ground that connects everything, allows them to speak, tell stories of what is happening to them. And I think if you are to brush or interact or even look with admiration at one of these strange growths, then somewhere else in the space, another will gesture or bow or bloom a little brighter in recognition of the communication between them.
On great rotten walls, moss-soaked, where the fungus is most at home, are these beautifully cut reliefs depicting great battles that happened eons ago, made from the fungus itself. And when, like Theia's description, it is observed or it is stroked, the fungus ripples, and just for a moment the battle is in motion, and the sides wage and war. Horses, beetles, 1,000 things with 1,000 limbs that you can't quite make out, maybe rotten over time, battle against one another, and then when your eyes depart, it fades and stills and goes back to just being a regular relief.
Dotted in and among are these long, slender, stalked mushrooms with frilled, delicate caps that seem to drip a very viscous substance, like an ink cap. But they have been cultivated to produce an array of colors. And so in corners of the rooms, there's a dedicated blue and a dedicated green. And there's one corner where, in a circle, they have been arranged carefully to drip down together and form a mosaic that shifts with every drip.
What was that you said? Yes, that's right. It is a lovely warm day. Oh, a very hot one, I think. Oh, there you are, telling your little jokes again. Oh. Yes. I'm happy to be here as well. I'm so glad that someone's here to finally listen to you. That someone's here to finally, remind you of what an important role you play in this world, in this place. I've traveled from very, very far to reach this menagerie. I've heard stories of it, and, well, I have to say, the stories don't even begin to do it justice, do they? Oh. You really, really must stop. I can't sit and listen to your stories all morning. Fenwyn, there's a young man crawling around the mushrooms, his ear down to them, listening, talking to them. He's wearing very, very simple traveling clothes and boots covered in sackcloth. He has a slight build. And he occasionally, strokes a mushroom and puts his ear close and says, "Oh, yes, that's right. That's right." Well, I brought a little bit of hardtack, and I had a bit of bread. Of course, we don't really have to eat like we used to. I mostly do it because, well, I just like to be reminded of the way things were. But you eat, don't you? Yes, you do. And then he seems startled to see you there. "Oh, hello." He looks up at you, and this young man in his simple, filthy clothes, he would have a very bright, happy, handsome face if not for it's just covered in dirt and filth. He says, "Are you from around here?"
Do I look like I'm from around here?
"Well, I've only just arrived myself, so I couldn't say. I haven't had a chance to really meet anyone yet."
Well, the people who are natives of this place have a particular, should we say, look.
Oh.
You're the first normal-looking person I've seen in days.
Oh, well, we're pleased to meet you. By we, I mean myself, Muck, and my friends. And he waves his hands at the mushrooms. My new friends.
And what tales did the toadstools tell?
Well, they led me here for a start. As it turns out, the mycelial network, it is quite vast in this land, and so I've been speaking to these mushrooms for quite a few leagues now, but their voices are quite clear at the moment. Oh, it's fascinating. The mushrooms, the fungus.
I take you to be a naturalist of sorts?
Oh, I'm a collector. That's what I am. Can you guess what I collect?
I'm guessing it's not stamps.
It is not. It's mushrooms.
Heed this warning, friend. There seem to be mushrooms that collect people in this place. Take them over. Lead their thoughts and actions. And I'd hate to see that.
That sounds incredible. Can you imagine becoming one? A gestalt fungal entity. It's amazing.
You've certainly come to the right place, if that's your desire.
Have you spoken to them? The mushrooms, I mean.
We've got an awkward relationship.
I love having conversations with them. I find that mushrooms don't lie. You see, they tell you things. They tell you where the world is softest, where it's dying, where it's ready to grow again. I listen. They listen back. It's a constant conversation. It's incredible. I never would have dreamed, though, of being able to actually become one of them.
Well, this has been...
some people think rot is an ending, but it's really not, It's only an ending because they only think that because they don't realize that, they've just never heard a mushroom laugh. Do you know they laugh? They do laugh. And yet they can be so quiet, so patient, sort of waiting for everything else, the whole world to catch up. I'm sorry, I'm boring you with all this mushroom talk.
How perceptive. I wish you well, friend. Please heed my warnings about the denizens of this place. Your innocence seems to be a fairly alluring quality that they will, I'm sure, latch onto, and it seems like you'd be reciprocal to that.
I didn't get your name, sir.
I didn't give it.
Right. And?
That'll do.
I've told you mine, though, although it's a nickname. My parents didn't name me Muck.
That would be very cruel, I would have thought.
I consider it, well, a reclamation of dignity. That's what it is. People used to call me Muck to make fun of me because I like to dig around in the muck.
Ah.
Because of the mushrooms, you see.
Ah, yeah. Yeah.
But now I wear that name with pride. If the muck is good enough for the fungus, it's good enough for me.
Tell me, and I think this is where Fenwyn's going to sense his opportunity to learn something. He says, Muck, tell me, when you speak to the mushrooms, when you connect to this labyrinth of pathways between them.
The mycelial network, yes.
Absolutely. Are they at peace?
Make the information move with presence.
Oh, not presence. Yep, a 9.
Okay. He says, well, you know, there's a way you can find that out yourself. Let me show you. I was lying earlier. Well, not lying, but wasn't being completely truthful. I have connected to the mushrooms. Not permanently, you see, just time to time. And he pulls out of his pouch a little mushroom with multiple little strands that are moving. He says, no. Swallow this. Don't chew it, just swallow it. And you'll be able, ever so briefly, to feel and see and hear and touch what the mushrooms are able to experience. Then you'll get your answers. And he moves it close to your mouth. Your clue is hidden behind swallowing this mushroom whole.
Well, the good news is, as a member of the Crystal Door, I'm able to shut toxins out of my body. So I will grab his hand and stop him feeding it into my mouth and fix him with a look as I start to chew on it.
Very good. We'll come back to this. Let's talk about this journey. So you said you wanted to go by way of Castle Bregan again. The two of you leave the Moldering Court and you continue. You go back into the Great Forest, heading toward the undead village. And as you're kind of making your way through, I'll tell you that you're starting to see signs that this is the Green Dragon's domain. For example, at one point you see a massive tree that's split down the middle. Its heartwood crystallized into green, glassy veins that pulse faintly with warmth. The leaves in the canopy fall constantly, drifting down in slow spirals that for a moment give the impression of shed scales. You occasionally encounter other travelers, pilgrims, that kind of thing. You come across one pilgrim who is refusing to take shelter beneath the roof of a lean-to when offered to him. He insists it's safer to sleep under the worm's gaze, to always let the dragon see you. And you also occasionally see patrols of the Emerald Knights, the oldest and most faithful servants of Noxiliacs, sworn to the dragon long before the Dimning, and loyal still. You can't miss them. They wear pale green scale armor, lacquered to a wet leaf sheen, edged with bronze. And their draconic helmets are also quite striking. They won't bother you, but You see them. They usually go about in pairs. Eventually, you do make it to the ruins of Castle Braken. Its crumbling but defensible walls. And here we have our next prompt that everyone has to do, even though only 2 of you are on the journey. Let's continue the story of Castle Braken. Please, each of you narrate a flashback to the time of the old fire, as the knights and soldiers of Castle Braken stare down from the parapets at an army of Malgaunt at their door. What about these wretched servants of the Dimning make them terrifying? Why do the men and women of Castle Braken think this may be their last stand?
There have been so many lost already. The people of Castle Braken, there are so many fewer than once there were. And these people, they have become used to no longer seeing those faces, no longer hearing those voices, but as they look down upon the ranks of the Malgaunt, there they are, the lost ones, their faces stolen, their voices kidnapped and trapped within the voice box of another. They call out with the words of lost souls they have no right to, saying, "Come to us. Come to us."
They have heard the Malgaunts for days before they've ever arrived, not just with the voices of the stolen, but with a different sound. It is a sound that sinks into their bones, into the teeth, and it rattles around in their skull and down their spine. It does not get louder as they approach, but they feel it more. It sends a shiver through their bodies as they approach. Some shake as the Malgaunts come within view because they know it's emanating not from a mouth. It's emanating from the movement of them, from the spaces in between their joints, what they consider to be joints, as they crawl and creak and hiss their way over the land, down to the castle walls. And the guards themselves are rattling and shaking in their armor as they try to hold steady, but the sound itself is possessing them, and some seize and shake and fall and thrash, unable to hold themselves together. And the ones that can only watch in terror, waiting for it to take them to.
An army moves as a unit. They move in rhythm. They move in time. There are calls, and you can hear the pace of the march of the feet. This isn't an army. It is a flood. The things that make up what is about to storm the castle, there is no order to them. Some run, some walk, some gallop, some lollop. They are all advancing to the base, to that moat, to the very lip of it. All of them, to the point where when they get to the front, some are crushing the others. They are clambering over the bodies of the ones before them, squishing them into the muck and the earth as just more and more and more keep coming. All of them calling out with the voices of stolen loved ones. This sea, this rage and cacophony are crashing. It is not an army. It is a flood.
And as that flood breaks on the walls of Castle Braken, it's not the forms in which these things take that's truly terrifying. It's not the overwhelming numbers. It's not the inevitability of it all. What ends this conflict for them is the men and women on the wall turn on each other as the Malgaunts overtake their paranoia. The people they trusted, they stood shoulder to shoulder with, are these crenellations, looking down at the oncoming tide. And they didn't need to fight back because they've stabbed each other in the back, pushed each other off the walls, slit their own throats.
Next session, we will let Ash and Calyxe do whatever they're going to do at the ruins of Castle Bregan. I'll give you your clue from consuming the mushroom, and we'll continue on with the Moldering Court. But for now, let's go to end of session. Let's talk about our end of session questions. I'm going to start with Ash. Did you roll a cinder today?
Yes, I did.
Oh, okay, fantastic. Go ahead and mark that. Did your pride reveal itself beneath the mask of humility?
I think his pride was a little wounded in speaking about the fight with Sir Denebre, which is why he kept enforcing that I was using a stick.
Oh, no, yeah, that's good. Yeah, it's subtle, but it's good. Yeah, it's really good. Did you glimpse the person you once were or the name you might yet take?
In the carnival story I was telling to Calyxe.
Fantastic. Theia, the waxing tone. First of all, Theia, you completed your mission. I assumed that like the dying was like the dying of his lust or whatever, or
of his memories and his hope. Yeah.
Fantastic. So you get your XP for the move. Did you roll a cinder?
I did not.
Did you engage in ecstatic or orgiastic worship of the Wolf King?
I was trying to kind of invoke that with the way in which she comforted
I agree.
Periwinkle.
I agree with it. Did you perform publicly or intimately in a way that shifted the balance of power?
I danced and I rang a silent bell to get
Ring
away from
Yeah.
I wanted to call him Salt Guy. The last step.
The last step, yes. Remember the Black Cortege, the last step. Yeah, definitely the ringing of the bell. Fantastic. Let's go to Calyxe of the Verdant Crucible. Calyxe, did you roll a cinder today?
I did not know.
Did you demonstrate reverence for root, stone, or soil over law, crown, or creed?
I did get into a battle of words about it with Fenwyn.
Okay. And did you give a wild-eyed monologue about how the land is speaking to you even now?
You know, I don't think I did. I think I was too busy being a coward running away. So that's a no.
Fenwyn, who moves like ink in water. Let's take a look at your questions. Did you roll a cinder today?
I did not.
Did you slip past an enemy when fighting them was an option?
Yeah, I instead of charging into battle with Sir Denebre, I went and stopped it by,
Did you demonstrate your amazing physical talents? Oh, yeah, you did. Someone else's wonder and astonishment. Yeah, certainly Sir Denebre is right. Fantastic. I don't think we have any narrations to kick off with next time. I'm pretty sure. I think we're all good there. So we'll just take a couple minutes to do Stars and Wishes real quick, and then we'll be done. So who would like to start?
I'd just like to say that this was a really fun session because we got a new mystery. We're kind of balls deep in the last one. We're kind of making some progress on it. And we were just like, well, let's get cracking and let's be productive. Let's all go off and do these different things. But first, we'll just make camp. And it really escalated from there. And I loved how that went. I will give a huge shout out to Jason for kind of orchestrating that. And the idea that when we're asked about what makes us vulnerable if we make camp in a dangerous place or whatever, or if we roll a 7 tonight, the idea that we're going to play the narrative hot potato there and pass each other the thing, like, we're always going to do that, right? No one's going to come up with their extra thing. And the way that just built was just really cool. And then we just had this entire kind of very operatic scene out of nothing, which had millipedes and, dancing and knights and zombies. It was fantastic. I really, really enjoyed it. Michelle, as always, the singing is just continues to amaze. I really like how Ash stood up to Calyxe defending me. Defending Fenwyn was a really nice moment. And yes, I really enjoyed a little bit of verbal sparring with Calyxe as well. But I just had a really fun time that episode. We said in the break, it felt like a bottle episode. Completely sort of separate from the main story, but there was still an awful lot of main story, and we all managed to tie stuff in as well, which was quite cool, like thematically and everything. So excellent work all around, everyone.
Yeah, I'll go next. I really well, first of all, star to Matt for hanging in there for the session, because I know you don't feel well, so star for that. That was so great. I really that was the first time I've done the make camp move in a dangerous place, and so I didn't fully know it was going to work right, but it did. I was really happy with that. Like, I love the hot potato building of the danger was like really great, because as you were all speaking, I was thinking like, okay, here's how this is going to play out. Like, here's how it could play out, you know. So that was a lot of fun. Star for the love the idea of having the duel with Sir Denebray. That was such a cool way of, like, because I was throwing a spanner in the works by having Malin the Just come to you with that, right? And so the way you kind of flipped it around, I thought was really good. So I enjoyed that quite a lot. Really loved the conversation between Malin and Ash, actually. That was such a good, like emotional, tender kind of moment. And it felt very private. It felt like the Nameless Legion business, which I thought was really great. Just kind of like that little scene between the two of them. In addition to just generally, Wren, how you use the Nameless Banner to kind of like stop that sort of like that sort of surge of skeletons leaving the amphitheater. Really, really big stars for all the musical pieces today, Michelle. It was really great. It was just the timing of all of it was really good as well. Like those songs like happened in the right spots, which was really great. In addition to being very entertaining and really kind of setting the tone for the session, I thought, because this session it had kind of performance as a theme, I think, so that it all kind of tied nicely as far as that goes. And yeah, all of the flashbacks were great today. Loved all the character building, Jess, you did with Calyxe. Continue to really love and hate Calyxe in equal measure, but the hate is a good hate, so it's all good. And I love that, like, Calyxe running away, like that was the exact right way that had to go, like Calyxe would not have stood there and like fought, right? Like, so it was a pretty good moment. And star for also everybody just kind of getting on board with like the Calyxe stole that barbed wire, that was a great little that was just fun that kind of made the scene really fun to resolve. Yeah, just a great session all around. Yeah, like, it did feel a bit like a bottle episode. It kind of felt it almost felt like a little, like, it also in some ways also felt like kind of like a mid-season finale in a sense, like that it had kind of like a little finale kind of moment going on. But of course we're not done with the Moldering Court. There's still more to do. Yeah, it's just a good time all around.
I was really concerned we were getting a bit too efficient, so I star for all of us just really dicking around for a whole episode there. That was great. Just getting into a real mess and having to tidy it up before we got anything done. Really enjoyed that. Matt, I will never stop being gleeful at Fenwyn's despair at constantly encountering kind of plant-based twinks. Every time it brings me joy to see how much Fenwyn does not want to interact with these people. But I also kind of love that he has that little bit of a soft side, that as much as he's kind of being standoffish, he can't help but maybe care a little bit about the twinks. So love that. Always fun to see Fenwyn tries to go off on his own and has to encounter someone he doesn't want to talk to. Is always a good time. Wren, I think Jason already gave you a star, but I want to give you another one for like the speech when like Ash drew the nameless banner and like compelled the Legion to stop was just really evocative, and I really liked it. And I also really liked the kind of the story about the circus as this kind of like very like powerful moment and this very soft moment. Again, like Ash has so many multitudes to that character, and it's really nice to see them both. Jess, your Old Fire narration was truly horrendous in the best possible way. But like this is such a small moment, but I really liked your paint the scene when you described the mural of the battle with the mushrooms, and then how you kind of built on what we'd said about them moving to kind of make the battle animated. That was just such a cool moment. Like I love the paint the scenes because we always think of things that I would never have thought of, and I'm like, oh, your brains work differently than mine. How wonderful and magical. But that one just really stuck with me as like such a cool evocative image. And Jason, yeah, just like it's really interesting to see this other aspect of the game, because we've done a few of the struggles that are kind of like I guess, pre-written, and this wasn't exactly a struggle, but it was kind of had that same cinematic, like, there's a battle and there's all this trouble and how we're going to deal with it, that was much more like off the cuff, because you asked us what was going to happen and then you had to just work with that and make it into a really, really powerful scene. So yeah, stuff for that was really cool to see that the game has that flexibility to roll with what the characters are saying but still fit that structure and that cinematic feel that the struggles have. That was really cool to see.
So my first star is to Matt, and in a way it links back to Jason, because you two are sort of bouncing off each other in a way that I can see Matt is learning from Jason on the how do I make this worse scale. So when we were describing the Malgaunts storming the castle, that end narration of all of the people behind the on the parapets just turning on each other, and that somehow being even worse than the horrors we just sort of built at the gates. I was just like, yeah, it's like looking at Jason there. That's a bit mad. And then to sort of build on that, this idea of making dangerous camp and making the next thing the worst, like around this table. That's it's such a feast, because it's just build, reincorp, and end up with the most horrendous thing that we can think of, and somehow it all ties to one another. It's brilliant. It's such a lovely thing, but it's really fun to see how you guys in particular are working off of each other's mechanics. Like, it's very good fun. Michelle, so we know you've got like the lyrics for the silver-tongued Romulo song. You sent us those lyrics. Did you have the lyric for the Periwinkle song written, or did you just make that up? I gotta know.
I did write it in advance.
Okay.
Don't tell anyone. I know. Don't put this on YouTube.
No, but this is the thing. Doing this much work and preparation before is wild. Like, you creating 2 entire songs for just even what I imagine you have even more. I don't
listen. I don't want you to think I'm not listening to you all, because you're all great. But I did write it during the last session.
But this is it. It all comes. You get inspired by the things that are amazing, and then you end up being able to bring 2 songs to a session. And every time I think you're about to break out into song, I get very, very hopeful. And then, yeah, it's brilliant to see you being able to incorporate so many of the Troubadour's aspects into these songs and then make it part of your story. It's brilliant. It's wonderful. Wren, with everything that Ash is straddling this line of pride, right? It is so clear to see the battle that is happening with every sentence that's coming out, from like defending Fenwyn to then like just trying to give Sedenebrae, like, I was using a stick, that constant, I was using a stick, and you know, Fenwyn's got poise, fine. And then all of that just melts when it comes down to the nameless, and all of it is this just undying loyalty and pride to be part of them. And you can see it with the way that you rose the banner, the way that you talk to Mal. I love that he's called Mal. That's a whole thing. There are depths to Ash that you are playing really subtly, and I love being able to dig into them. Huge stars for bringing that to the table. And still the accent is still just like probably my favorite choice for Ash. Like, I love it. But yeah, I think this is a session. While again, yeah, we did say we've got so many plans and we're going to get so much done. We failed to make camp, lads. We failed to make camp. And I've never been happier. So it's, again, the flexibility of the system, the story. I love it. It's so good.
Star for Matt. Everyone has said it. Thank you for making it through. I know you're dying right now, so I'm going to try and keep it short. I really enjoyed your old fire, though the one that you had to create because of your thing. I really enjoyed that little flashback that you had to do. Just seeing like how Fenwyn is, how much that relates to him in the present, the little bits of like showmanship that he has that he's still carrying through despite not liking to speak to anyone. I really like his character, and the bits that we're getting to see in his interactions with people outside of the party, because Jason keeps giving you all of the tweaks. Michelle, I mean, the singing is incredible. I really liked your scene with Jesus, what's it? The Last Step. Just the little tete-a-tete that you were having. Honestly, I love your conversations with everyone, because when you were speaking to Voss and you were like, what was it? Prospero. I was like, Jesus, Michelle, please. But no, I just love the little things that you throw out that really help sell you as like a troubadour, as this bard character who is just so verbose and just has these songs within you ready to burst out. And I'm just so happy every time that gets to be shown. For Calyxe, for Jess, I liked that we got to share that little telling, just your little interjection and commentary during Ash's story. I really liked, because Calyxe seemed so soft in that moment, but also I could see that she was digging as well. It's just like, I'm listening to you tell this, but it's because I want to gain knowledge and information from you. It's not just, oh, we're having this nice moment. There is something here. And I like just how Calyxe is in that she is always looking for an angle, for something that she can use, for something that she can maybe manipulate. And it's just fun to have a character who's just like, you gotta keep an eye on this. You gotta keep an eye on this one, because at any moment, she's gonna do something terrible. And for Jason, I love that there was so much that you wanted to do as well in our mate camp scene. No, because it's like we have our own little plans, but it's always fun to see that you have plans as well. Like, you want to interact and have the characters engage just as much with like all the NPCs, and then to craft this due to a terrible roll. They're back. Just this whole battle that we get to do, and then involving all of these NPCs that we have met and begun to form relationships with into this little thing kind of off the fly. It's fun to see your mind work, and to have these things that aren't struggles but still have like this battle energy. It's just fun. I'm just having a fun time with the game. And stuff for Fiona. Hi Fiona, thank you, we love you.
Fantastic. I don't think I had anything else, so that was a great session. Thanks, guys.